Ever find yourself, scrolling through those celebrity gossip sites and you see those headlines like, so-and-so celebrity files for bankruptcy.
Oh, absolutely.
You're like, wait a minute, they made how much per movie?
Right.
It's fascinating and a little scary how those mega-rich stars can end up in financial ruin.
Yeah.
So today we're doing a deep dive into celebrity money meltdowns.
Yeah.
But we're not just here for the gossip.
Right.
We're looking for those relatable lessons. Because it's easy to think, oh, that'll never be me. I don't have millions to mismanage. But these stories often reveal universal truths about our own relationship with money, just, amplified.
Absolutely. It's just on a much larger scale. You're seeing the same sort of pitfalls and the same sort of traps that people fall into, but obviously with a lot more zeros at the end.
Exactly. And we've got some doozies for you today. Tales of wild spending sprees, questionable investments, and even those how do they think that was a good idea
Yeah.
moments.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, we'll sprinkle in a little psychology to understand what drives these decisions.
Yeah.
So let's kick things off with a name synonymous with both Hollywood success and, well, financial ups and downs. Johnny Depp.
Ah, Johnny Depp. Where to even begin?
I don't know.
The man reportedly spent over $360,000 per year on wine.
I mean, I enjoy a nice Cabernet with dinner as much as the next person.
Sure.
And that's an entire wine cellar every month.
Right. It's unimaginable for most of us, I think, to even fathom spending that much on any kind of consumable, let alone wine.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets interesting. It's a prime example of something kind of lifestyle inflation.
Okay.
Which is, as our income grows, so do our expenses. We upgrade our lifestyle, which seems natural. You get a raise, you want to, reward yourself.
Sure.
But Depp's story, at its core, is a cautionary tale of taking it to the absolute extreme.
So you're saying I shouldn't have bought that solid gold back scratcher when I got my promotion?
Maybe not solid gold, but you get the idea. It's easy to fall into that trap of I deserve this or I'm worth it spending.
Right.
And I think Depp's story really just kind of reminds us to take a look at those upgrades and ask ourselves, is this truly adding value to my life? Or am I just doing this because I can?
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
And speaking of upgrades, Depp didn't stop at the wine.
Yeah.
He owned 14 properties, including a 19th century French village.
A whole village?
He literally bought a village.
Yeah.
And then there's the $3 million that he dropped on Hunter S. Thompson's funeral.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking shooting his ashes out of a cannon.
Larger than life. And that's where I think the psychology gets really fascinating.
Okay.
Depp idolized Thompson, who was, for those who may not know, a writer known for his own kind of lavish lifestyle. And this wasn't just a funeral, right? This was an emotional investment.
Yeah.
It reflected their shared philosophy, a certain kind of extravagance, if you will,
Yeah.
that really defined their lives. And it's an interesting thing to look at from that perspective.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And speaking of extravagant tastes, Nicolas Cage takes it to a whole other level.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking private islands, castles, a dinosaur skull.
The dinosaur skull.
A dinosaur skull.
Okay, I gotta ask, what is the appeal of having a T-Rex head on your mantle?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is?
And it takes us right back to emotional spending, right? So was Cage's collecting an attempt to find stability, to possess something tangible and unique? Or was it about fulfilling some kind of, childhood fantasy? And again, these are extreme examples, of course.
Sure.
But they illustrate how our emotions can influence our financial choices in ways that we might not even realize, right? We think we're being completely rational, but there's always this undercurrent of emotion.
But lavish spending isn't the only way celebrities find themselves in financial hot water.
Right.
Sometimes it's about making big bets that
Yeah.
go bust.
Mm-hmm.
And no story illustrates this better than Kim Basinger and her ambitious venture into, well,
Town ownership.
town ownership.
Yeah.
Imagine having the money to buy a whole town.
I know.
What would you even do with that?
It's kind of like it's almost comical, right? Just having that much money. I mean, what am I going to do with this? I'm going to buy a town.
Well, Basinger decided to turn this sleepy little town in Georgia into a Hollywood of the South
Really?
Studios, shopping centers, the
Wow.
whole 9 yards.
It's a classic example of a grand vision, right?
Yeah.
Overshadowing any kind of like practical consideration. Like
Yeah.
I imagine she poured millions into this project.
Oh, yeah.
But it seems like some crucial business elements were kind of just overlooked, right? Like,
Sure.
was there actual demand for a Hollywood East Coast?
Right.
Was the infrastructure even in place to support this kind of massive undertaking?
Good point.
These are all questions that maybe got lost in the excitement of the idea.
Right. And excitement doesn't always pay the bills, unfortunately.
Unfortunately not.
Basinger ended up having to sell the town for a fraction of what she paid. A loss that would make even the savviest investor wince.
Oof. Yeah, that's a tough one. And it's a good reminder, though, that even with the best of intentions, our emotions can really cloud our judgment when it comes to investing.
Yeah.
And, Basinger was going through a divorce at the time.
Right.
And we know that emotional stress can lead to some pretty impulsive decisions.
Totally. Don't make any big decisions when you're hungry, angry, lonely, tired.
Exactly.
We're going through a divorce.
Add that to the list. But it's not just real estate deals gone wrong. Let's talk about Heidi Montag.
Oh, Heidi.
Remember her? Reality TV money, instant fame, and just a spending spree that could rival Marie Antoinette.
It's a tale as old as time.
Oh, yeah.
Or at least as old as reality TV.
Right.
That allure of sudden wealth and the pressure to maintain that image.
Yeah.
It can be intoxicating.
Absolutely. Montag's story is really a textbook case of financial mismanagement.
Okay.
Amplified by the fleeting nature of fame. It's easy to get caught up in that whirlwind of designer clothes and the lavish parties and all these extravagant purchases. But without a solid financial plan, that money can disappear as quickly as it came.
And disappear. It did.
It really did.
$2 million on a music album.
Oh, my goodness.
That's some serious faith in auto-tune.
That's a perfect example, though, right? That is impulsive spending driven by this deep desire to stay relevant, to keep the momentum going.
Right.
But it also highlights the importance of financial literacy.
Yes.
Okay. Understanding, just basic concepts like budgeting and saving and investing can make all the difference in the world.
It does. It's not how much you make,
Exactly.
how much you keep.
Exactly.
But let's shift gears a bit and talk about a different kind of financial pitfall.
Okay.
One with much more serious consequences. Tax evasion.
Right.
Enter Wesley Snipes.
Wesley Snipes. Now, Snipes' case goes beyond just bad spending habits. This is about failing to pay taxes for 7 years.
7 years.
7 years. A serious offense with serious repercussions.
Absolutely.
He claimed to be what they call a non-resident alien, which is a tax status that, if applicable, can offer certain exemptions.
Okay.
However, the IRS did not buy it.
And the IRS always gets its cut.
They always do.
Snipes ended up facing millions of dollars in back taxes and even served time in prison.
Yeah.
It's a sobering reminder that no matter how famous you are, no matter how wealthy you are, you are not above the law.
You are not above the law. And what I find fascinating about this is, again, that human element.
Yeah.
Was it denial? Was it bad advice? Was it a combination of both?
Yeah.
That led him down this path? It's a stark reminder that even these seemingly insurmountable problems often stem from a series of smaller, often avoidable missteps.
Like that snowball effect.
Exactly.
What starts as a small issue, if it's left unaddressed, it just snowballs into this huge thing.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, Snipes' story isn't unique. Randy Quaid's situation takes us even further down this rabbit hole, where financial troubles then intertwine with paranoia, legal battles, alleged conspiracies.
Oh, wow.
It's a sad and complex situation.
It really is.
And I think it's important to approach these kinds of situations with sensitivity.
Of course.
Mental health can play a significant role in our financial decision-making.
Absolutely.
And it's crucial to seek help when needed.
Yes.
Regardless of your financial situation or your status.
Right. And speaking of complex situations, Kelly Rutherford's story brings a whole other dimension to our conversation. Yeah. The crushing financial burden of custody battles.
Oh, absolutely.
Rutherford's case highlights a challenge that so many people face. And it's not just celebrities.
Right.
It's the exorbitant cost
yes.
of these legal battles.
Especially in high-conflict family situations.
It's so easy to forget that behind those glamorous red carpet smiles, celebrities face real-life problems.
Oh, absolutely.
Just like the rest of us.
They're human beings.
Exactly. Rutherford's story reminds us that Financial strain can arise from the most unexpected sources,
Yeah.
and even those who seem to have it all
Mm-hmm.
can still find themselves struggling. It really makes you think, doesn't it?
It does.
These stories highlight that these kinds of financial struggles, they can affect anyone.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter your income, your social status.
It doesn't matter. And it really underscores a crucial point that we've been kind of circling, I think, throughout this whole deep dive. Money is never just about the numbers.
Right.
It's about our emotions. It's about our choices. It's about those curveballs that life throws our way. And sometimes it's a combination of all three.
Yeah, it's like that saying, money can't buy you happiness, but it can buy you a better class of problems.
That's right.
And we've certainly seen some prime examples of that today. But on a serious note,
Mm-hmm.
as we kind of unpack these celebrity money meltdowns, what surprised you the most?
You know, for me, I think the thing that surprised me, or maybe not surprised me, but the thing that really stood out was this consistent thread of financial literacy, or rather the lack thereof,
Yeah.
right? We saw how even those with immense wealth, I mean, more money than most of us will ever see in our lifetimes, can stumble and fall without that basic understanding of financial management,
Yeah.
right? It's not about, becoming a Wall Street whiz.
Right.
It's about knowing the basics. And it's a powerful reminder, I think, that regardless of your income, knowing how to budget, knowing how to save, knowing how to invest, these are essential life skills for navigating, this complex world of money.
For sure. It's so easy to get caught up in that keeping up with the Joneses mentality.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially, in today's day and age with social media and everything else.
Oh, it's inescapable.
It really is.
It really is.
So before we wrap things up, for our listener, what's that one key takeaway you really hope they take to heart after listening to this conversation we've had today?
I think the biggest takeaway is that financial literacy is for everyone.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're making minimum wage or you're a multimillionaire.
Right.
Understanding how to manage your money is crucial.
It is.
And I think these celebrity stories, as wild as they are, they serve as valuable lessons. We can learn from their missteps.
Right.
Seek out resources, educate yourself, and take control of your financial well-being.
Couldn't agree more. And you know what? It's not about judging these celebrities. It's about understanding
Right.
the human element behind these situations and then applying those lessons to our own lives.
Exactly.
So, dear listener, as you go about your day, here's a final thought to ponder. If you suddenly found yourself with a mountain of cash, what safeguards would you put in place to avoid these pitfalls? What would you do differently? A little food for thought and maybe a little financial planning inspiration. Thanks for joining us on this wild ride through the world of celebrity money meltdowns. Until next time, remember, knowledge is power, especially when it comes to your finances.